a massive increase in the loss of physical health for all kinds of different reasons. There has been a loss of sense of our place in the world, what actually is our world. And there also has been people struggling with their emotional health as well. And I think that built into that is the connection with spirit. Either you have really started to connect in with the fact that you are a spiritual being, or you've really kind of lost that sense of connection. Well, what actually am I connected to? Why am I here? What is this all about? So there's kind of that loss of, who am I? Who am I? So many. And we've got all of these emotions. So what kind of emotions came up for me? So there's regret, there's sadness, there's anger, there's depression, and we're trying to store them in our body, a body that has no room for them. And how are they showing up now? Because the physical body is storing them, and the mental body is storing them, and these are not happy emotions. These are not emotions that sit very well in our body. So there's a loss of ease, there's a loss of sense of purpose, there's a loss of sense of who am I in this world, and actually, what even is this world anymore? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Maybe you started to really kind of ponder and ask yourself some difficult questions, and maybe you're struggling with that as well. I think there's been so many deaths of parts of ourselves, so many deaths of versions of ourselves. We've found ourselves maybe questioning so many things that maybe our heads feel like they're spinning sometimes. You know, from one day to the next, from one moment to the next. Sometimes you don't even know what to expect, who you are, what's coming next. So if I was to offer advice, I would say, like, try and tune out the external noise and try and come back into yourself. Because inside here, if you tune into your heart, if you tune into your third eye, if you tune into your gut, you know, trust your gut instinct. All of these places, these are like 3 different brains that you have going on, which are totally separate from the brain that's in your head. And these brains know a lot more than what your mind does, because your mind is always running an old script. And that script, it needs ripping up, it needs thrown away. It's so tired and worn out and not really fit for purpose anymore. So yeah, burn the script, burn the script. Time to write a new one. It really is. So what else have I written down here? Oh yeah, decisions made in haste, and then or in the heat of the moment. I think there's been an awful lot of that. You know, words, there's been lots of angry words exchanged over the last few years, things said in the heat of the moment. You can't go back in time, you can't change what has been. All you can do is send love and forgiveness to those situations and have some compassion for those people. You know, we've all been trying to do the best that we could do in the times that we've been in. Turn my notifications off, sorry about that. None of us have had a script for this. We've all just been trying to feel our way through these times. So, you know, have some forgiveness for yourself as well. You're just doing the best. You're doing the best in every moment that you can do. And I really feel like this is one of the reasons why I got a massive download a few months ago, which was all to do with like working with grief and loss. So I already had this idea kind of percolating in my head, and Spirit came in. It came in so strongly one night that I was probably up for about 4 hours just writing down all of the information that I was given and what it was going to look like, and it was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I wrote stuff down in my book that when I read it now it makes no sense to me whatsoever, but I know that it's actually for a future version of me. So even though it doesn't make sense to me now, I know it will at some future point. But the bit that really resonated, and I think the reason why I've gone through so much grief and loss in my own life, was to actually prepare me for this part of my mission that I'm in now. And a large part of what I do is actually helping people to work through all kinds of different losses and all kinds of different grief as well. So it's healing that emotional body, and we carry emotions that we have no room for. So my message today, Monday is ruled by the moon. The moon is all about of your emotions. It's that ebb and flow. So if any of the things that I have mentioned here, the whole losses within lockdown, that elephant in the room that nobody seems to be talking about, but you know what? I want to be having those conversations. I want to be opening those conversations up with you, because I think that if we start having those conversations, the ripple effect that we will be sending out as we start to heal ourselves, we start to heal everyone else. Because as you increase your vibration, as you start to let go of those stored emotions, as you start to make your peace with the losses that you've experienced, and every single one of us has experienced at least one loss in these last 3.5 years. And this doesn't have to be the loss of, you know, loved ones. And crikey, I'm only scratching the surface. I mean, you know, to think of the examples, the things that have absolutely broke my heart over the last few years, is seeing people who couldn't actually get to visit loved ones, not just because of distance, but because they weren't even allowed into the places where their loved ones was. So they weren't allowed into hospitals, they weren't allowed into care homes. Like, what kind of a society were we living in where we allowed this to happen? To see people having to talk to their loved one through windows, oh gosh, even when I think about it now, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And I can't even imagine. That didn't happen to me, but I feel like it happened to me, because I was feeling into all of those people that were having to go through that. And I feel that in my heart. So for those people that actually went through that, like, how are you processing that? How are you getting through those emotions? I can't even imagine. But if you're really struggling, then reach out, because there is a whole program that I do that looks at all different kinds of losses, and I really feel that in the times that we're in, so many people would benefit from doing it. So again, if any of what I've said resonates with you, even if it doesn't resonate with you and you feel that it would resonate with